Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paco Caparas. I am the co-founder and president of NXTLVL Water, a Filipino water technology startup. And today I'm here to talk to you specifically about one thing, and that's providing sustainable, renewable, potable water sources for islands and coastal communities. But before I talk about what I do and what my company does, it's probably better to show you exactly what we do. So please watch this short video and then we can carry on after. Okay, hopefully you found that interesting, but let's slow down and try to break it down bit by bit. So a lot of you already know about water problems in your own communities or even in the entire nation of the Philippines. But when it comes to islands and coastal communities, the water crisis really breaks down like this. In what islands and coastal communities, often there is a depletion or non-existence of groundwater resources, which stops us from digging wells to provide our water or limited surface water. Usually, water supplies are often interrupted or are short, particularly when water needs to be ferried over or traveled a significant amount of distance to get to the community. And also, water supply chains are highly vulnerable on islands and coastal communities to typhoons and other extreme weather, whereby a single typhoon can restrict or completely wipe out water supply to several islands for weeks or even months. And finally, until today, really a lot of the solutions that from a technological perspective, like desalination and other treatment methods, have often been very expensive, especially when it comes to energy costs and transportation costs, which has led to usually a lot of islands actually having things like desalination machines, but ending up not using them due to costs of diesel, costs of repairs, and things like that, which are really intolerable by many of the islands or communities' local residents. That's a big part of what has led to over 40 million Filipinos affected by water scarcity that live in these coastal and island areas. Which means that when we look at a solution, what is a solution for these islands and coastal areas for potable water? It really should have three things. The solution, and our solution is called a Hydra, should, number one, really take advantage of unlimited resources in terms of the source of water and also the source of power by which we use to treat water into potable, high quality levels. Number two, they really need to be modular in their design and in their deployment so that when you are deploying in a far-off island, for example, an island where there are no port facilities and everything must be carried by hand onto the island, you have a design and you have a system that is really deployable in these worst case scenario sort of conditions without heavy machinery, without porting facilities, and without a lot of the things that are available in major metropolitan areas for large infrastructural developments. And finally, and possibly most importantly, any system or any solution in these areas, given the communities, needs to be cost efficient. It needs to save money, both in the power and also in the logistics costs, so that the people in the community can have access to cheaper drinking water, ideally much cheaper even than what we can get here in Metro Manila or in other urban areas, so that this water can actually be financially accessible to the people in the townships and communities that live by the coast and on the islands. And that's really these three things: unlimited resources, proprietary modular design, and cost efficiency, that are the foundation of our solution, which we like to call the Hydra. The Hydra is kind of a marriage of the best of two worlds in terms of technologies. We don't just take something from Europe or from the first world and try to employ it here, which normally results in poor or detrimental effects, but it's actually a marriage between great technology from abroad, from our technology partner Elemental Water Makers, which is an award-winning Dutch water technology company that has won several global awards for its solar and energy recovery device, aligned to our own homegrown technologies, particularly in our modular treatment systems with storefronts, our bespoke well designs, and our highly localized and weather resilient constructions that help defend against both extreme weather and also system downtime and maintenance and repairs. So what you really get when you combine all of these things is that perfect solution for islands and coastal communities that need potable water on a day-to-day basis. You get an unlimited and renewable water source, the sea or the oceans. You get the consistency of year-round local supply with a very small footprint, usually less than 50 square meters per system. You get extreme weather resilience, typhoons and other storms, and no impact from saline intrusion, since we are taking water directly from the sea. You get the lowest cost, due to the energy recovery technologies that we use, of treatment of seawater. And this is lower. This is usually lower by more than 75% compared to other desalination machines. You get a guaranteed high quality output of your water, well above the WHO standard for potability. You get an easy turnkey solution, meaning that the entire system is up and ready to go, usually within 5 months, with a completely localized supply chain and spare parts and system maintenance. You also get very efficient operations, where within one single site, you're able to go from seawater all the way to bottled water into 5-gallon jugs that most communities use for their potable water. And finally, you actually get the support of remote monitoring and maintenance with each of our systems being hooked up via SIM cards, so that we can monitor directly on a minute-by-minute basis the production quality and quantity of each and every system, so that we can actually support systems that are far off and in far-flung areas, and even know when problems happen before the operators on site know them as well. When you get all of these advantages and combine these together, what you really get is a truly unique and new solution. It breaks the barrier of affordability and availability. Meaning what? Meaning in an island where the options for potable water used to be either deep wells, which were cheap, but you honestly had a lot of either quality issues and often were susceptible to seasonal shortages or undersupplies. Or you could have bottled water, which is fine in terms of quality, but due to the supply chain and due to the type of product, is usually prohibitively expensive for the communities. Or you could even have somewhere in between, whether it be your conventional water stations or conventional desalination machines that really are not a solution for these islands and coastal communities due to the lack of infrastructure, power, or other logistical concerns, and usually sell water at a still higher rate than most of the population can afford. What you have with us and with Next Level Water, that in what our offering is to islands and coastal communities, is really a solution that can self-power, that can guarantee consistency 365 days a year at a very high quality, at or even above that of bottled water. And you can get that at a price to the consumer that is far lower than any price really that is experienced across the Philippines, whether in metro or rural areas. Most areas around the Philippines are usually around the 25 pesos to all the way up to 35 or even 40 pesos per 5-gallon jug, whereas with our solution and in the communities that we've deployed our systems in, the consumers now get to enjoy prices of as low as 5 to 10 pesos per 5-gallon jug of high quality potable water all year round. Of course, the proof is in the pudding. The first system that we deployed, which was in San Juan, La Union, a couple years ago, we deployed really with the intention of showing what the system could do, and we're greeted immediately by a giant typhoon Ompong, within months of our commissioning. Happily, we were able to say that we survived with really nothing untoward happening to the system. We were able to provide to the community free water powered by solar immediately after the typhoon had passed, whereas the rest of the community was not able to generate water from its water stations for over a week. And even when things normalized, we were actually able to provide water to the community at 10 pesos per jug compared to the market price of 25 pesos per jug, selling out most of our 11,000 liters per day on an average basis. Not only did we create this impact in terms of water provision, but we are able to create impact in terms of really ingraining ourselves into the community and creating income and jobs using our system. So this is an example in La Union of one of our partners, Jomer, who was able to create an entire business of potable water jug distribution around La Union by working with us and expanding his trucking and distribution fleet to really create business. So even at a lower price to the consumer, or a much lower price to the consumer, we are able to provide scenarios where everyone wins, the consumer and as the operators as well, who can create income and jobs with the type of solutions that we are offering. From La Union, we also work directly on islands, particularly here's an example in Bohol, where we were assigned to develop a water solution for Pandanon, which is an island of about 2,500 people. And within a couple of months, actually, even during the lockdown of 2020, we were able to deliver a fully solar-powered solution of 5,000 liters per day. So enough to create drinking water for the entire population that is now sold at approximately 5 pesos per 5-gallon jug. So effectively the cheapest drinking water in all of the Visayas in this remote island off the coast of Bohol. And not only that, we were also able to increase the number of jobs that we added, 5 jobs in the area, and made that island from, honestly being very exposed to disasters and loss of water supply during disaster times or typhoon times, to being 100% fully disaster resilient in terms of potable water. And they've now survived a number of typhoons in the area with no impact to the system or any impact to water provision across the island. Here's a couple more pictures, but as you can see, this is a program that was heavily supported by the governor of Bohol, Governor Yap, and we are also now kind of deploying across other islands as well. Not only do we work with LGUs and provincial governments, but we also work with private enterprises, foundations, and CSR CSR trusts. Here's an example of a community actually in Cavite, so close here to Metro Manila, that similarly needs these types of potable water solutions that we have kind of provided for them, and are now enjoying much cheaper and much more consistent, high quality potable water than they had previously. One thing that we would also kind of like to highlight is that our technology is not only good for disaster resilience, but also for disaster response. So our same technology, which can now be adapted to DRRM, or which we call our Poseidon project, is a technology that can also deploy to a certain area and be deployed within 6 hours time. So simply hooking up our system to a truck, driving as close as possible into the affected area by the coast, and within 6 hours be able to produce anywhere from 5,000 to 22,000 liters per day of high quality potable water for up to 100 straight days without any external power source, so meaning no need for diesel generator, because obviously in times of disaster relief, diesel and generators are usually kind of a very prized commodity. So this system, the Poseidon, can actually operate without any external fuel, which is really important for that type of scenario, and obviously can be mobilized and transported across a wide variety of kind of coastal situations. Just want to end with a couple points here on our team. So we do have an excellent locally grounded team that is very highly experienced in deploying our systems in multiple environments and scenarios. The team is on the ground in Luzon and the Visayas, and thus can be incredibly responsive. We have not elapsed our 5-month deadline so far. Most of our projects have been delivered in really less than 3 months, and we have kind of project managers and engineering managers that are extremely experienced with our specific type of system solution, and also our specific types of deployments, meaning deploying in areas where there is no power, there are no porting facilities. So basically the most difficult types of environment to kind of do an engineering project or water infrastructure project. We also work with, across a lot of governmental and non-governmental institutions, like the BOI. Obviously we're PhilJEPS registered and registered with the PCAP, but also with other kind of European governments that we work with due to our technology partners, and also national institutes like the Department of Agriculture, the PRDP, and the like. So if you are a representative of the local government units and are wondering how you can work with us and how we can design projects, please do contact us. We have had experience working across the chain from local to provincial to national in terms of designing and proposing and applying for these types of projects that really bring cheap, high quality water to the most affected areas or the most affected communities really in our country. Please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact us directly by email. That would be the best way. So I'm Paco Caparas. You can call me at or email me at paco@nextlevelwater.xyz. I also have my business associate Erica. You can contact her contacts are up here, or you can even just visit our website at nxtlvlwater.xyz, where you can learn even more about our technology, the projects that we've done, and set up a contact and some time to talk for our projects. So that's my presentation. Thank you for listening and hope to speak with you soon.